This is interesting. So, we all know about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Robert Downey Jr. got, his contract was coming up. He got into a big contract dispute with Marvel. He wanted, 5 dump trucks full of money instead of 3 to continue doing it. Eventually, they came to a deal, and they signed a deal for Robert Downey Jr. to do Avengers 3 and Avengers 4. Okay. But since that time, Iron Man 3 comes out. It becomes the 5th highest grossing movie of all time. The biggest grossing Marvel film other than the Avengers. So now, obviously, people are asking Iron Man 4. What's going on with Iron Man 4? So, okay, recently, Robert Downey Jr. is being interviewed, and they asked him, well, what about Iron Man 4? And this, I'm going to read his response verbatim. He says, it's down to Kevin and Ike. The Kevin Feige, obviously, the president of Marvel Studios, and Ike, I've never pronounced his last name right, so I'm not going to try. Who's the CEO of Marvel? He said, it's up to Kevin and Ike and Disney to come to us with what the proposal is. And that's going to then be on us to agree or disagree with it. When things are going great, there's a lot of agreement. So basically, and I think this is a fair paraphrase, Robert Downey Jr. is saying, yeah, I'm up for Iron Man 4 if the offer is good enough. So Schnepp, you heard about this. First of all, what's your impression of that statement? And then do you think they're going to be able to come to a deal?
I am excited about it, and I think they're going to come to a deal. Actually, just when I got to like a couple days before I got to Comic-Con, they had announced those other movie dates for Marvel, and I was like, I wrote after Ant-Man, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Thor 3, Black Panther, Guardians 2, Avengers 3, Inhumans, and the last one, May 3rd, is Iron Man 4. I wrote that on July 18th because I was like, you know what? Iron Man 3 made $1 billion. They're going to give him 8 dump trucks full of money.
Say that word again.
$1 billion. Yeah, it's Iron Man 3 was a giant hit. I know all the people felt you betrayed me with the Mandarin. Why don't you relax? It was an awesome movie. Iron Man 4 is happening. Downey Jr. is going to be in it. He's probably going to be in 5 and 6 too. He's awesome. He is Iron Man. And Marvel would be silly to not pay him. It doesn't matter if they pay him. Even if they paid him, let's just say $150 million.
Chump change. Yeah.
It's chump change because it's like, oh, we got him for Avengers 4, 5, and 6, and Iron Man 4, 5, and 6, and it's totally worth it. So that's what I'd have to say.
Christian?
I mean, it's going off what you're saying, possibly Iron Man 4 in 2018. You're looking at like a 54-year-old Iron Man. So you've got to lock him in kind of sooner than later because his body's not going to hold up for long too. And just because Robert Downey Jr. has been through a lot of stuff in his life, and his body eventually is going to give out on him doing all this stuff. He hurt himself in the last movie. As far as the statement goes, from what I take from it in regards to the proposal, yes, it's obviously about money, but I don't think it's just about money because Robert Downey Jr. is a very creative dude. So I think in there the proposal is also what more I can do with this character, what more I can do with this story. So let's see what my team thinks of what creatively we want to do because he's a dude who always challenges himself. That's why he's doing The Judge because he wanted to show his chops again. This is what I'm doing. I'm a really good, talented actor.
Sure.
So with that, I think that the proposal thing makes sense. And yeah, they're going to pay him money. It's just they got to come up with the right deal, everything, the whole package, not just the cash.
But are you cool, even minus the money? Are you happy to hear that he wants to do it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's Tony Stark. I mean, he's the guy. You want him to be eventually they're going to have to replace him. Eventually, whether it be tomorrow or in 10 years. Replace him with somebody new, or the storyline's got to change. But if you can get him for more movies, sign him up.
The interesting thing you're bringing up, though, too, is I think it goes beyond that. You're saying it's not just about money, right? It's like, what else can I do with this character? What else can I do with this universe? But I think it goes beyond that. I think now you're getting into Ben Affleck territory. It's like, what other projects will you finance? What other films outside of this Marvel universe that I would like to explore and do will you make sure I get signed on to do and finance and let me do them?
Well, let's not forget also that he's got his production company, Team Downey. So, like, what other deals can we make with Team Downey? Because I guess Team Downey's at Warner Brothers, but still with Disney, there are ways to throw money more into his company. So he's got to be thinking about the long haul down there too. Like I said, 53 years old. What am I going to do more? What's my legacy going to be besides just being Tony Stark? But Tony Stark can help me fund it. He can build his own Stark Tower, but Downey Tower.
Because here's the thing, and I guarantee you that Disney will be open to having those discussions. Let's get creative about what we can get. Because look, Robert Downey Jr. signed his initial deal, which was a sweetheart of a deal, before Marvel really started clamping down on what they were willing to sign their actors for. Number one, if you're going to sign up to our movies now, you're signing for 7 or 8 or 9. And we are not paying you 10% back end. And we're not, and this is what it is. And they've used Robert Downey Jr. as a template to say to all the other actors that they're attracting into their franchises, saying, look, Robert Downey Jr. came and did Iron Man, and now look where he is. And they can use that to their advantage. So look, all other things being equal, I don't know anybody. I don't think I've ever literally met any human being that said, yeah, I don't think I want Robert Downey Jr. back. I think we all do. But at the same time, I know that Disney is really clamping down. They're never going to sign that kind of a deal. That first deal that they made with Robert Downey Jr., they're never going to do it again, because then they put themselves behind the 8 ball for future actors that they want to get involved with. But I think you guys are right. I think everybody knows that Robert Downey Jr. is in a unique position with them, and I think you're right about the whole, it's going to be about not necessarily the money. I think you're bang on when you say it's going to be about the other stuff they creatively bring into this deal, about what happens in his career outside of Avengers, and I think that's going to be the make or break. Amy Rose, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this conversation of his deal has come up before he was actually signed on for the next Avengers installments and stuff. And we know that Marvel knows his return value now. I mean, he's proven that again and again. And $1 billion, like, it's outrageous, regardless of your sentiments on Iron Man 3. It made a lot of money, and you can't say that it wasn't a good film, regardless of the direction certain characters take and everything. Shane Black is a really amazing writer-director. But beyond that, I completely agree with what you said about it's not just the money at this point, because Robert Downey Jr. is an amazing dramatic actor. And, you know, The Judge, I can't believe how many people haven't seen Chaplin. I brought that up the last time we talked about this. He's amazing in that.
That's what he got his Academy nomination for,
yes.
right? Was for Chaplin, right?
And he was phenomenal. And I do think he's at that point with this character that unless he can continue to evolve Tony Stark, that it's not worth the money anymore, because look at all the residuals and everything else he's made money on this character from. So I do think that he continuously wants to push the boundaries with what he can do with this. And if everyone is, you know, on the same page, as he's saying in his quote, that he loves this character and he's willing to return to it. So I'm thrilled about that. I think he's amazing. But we talk about this all the time. Who's going to be Wolverine after Jackman? Who's going to be Tony Stark after, you know, these two are so iconic in those roles. But I would like to see a couple more out of him, because he's in great shape, and I mean, I love him. I love him in this role.
Here's the one thing that's going in Disney's favor at this point, because in these negotiations, the big card that Robert Downey Jr. has is, look, Iron Man 3, $1 billion. Right. The one card that Disney has to play, although granted is not as strong as the Robert Downey Jr.'s card, is, that's great. What other big hit film do you have? The answer is none. He has no big box office smash film that he's done. So they're going to be making the argument that, look, Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr., you are what has made each other successful. This isn't all about Robert Downey Jr., and I don't think Robert Downey Jr. has that attitude anyway.
I don't think so either, and it just goes back to what we're all agreeing on, is the fact that it's just like, I'm sure, but what else can we do?
Yeah, I agree.
Hey everyone, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.
This is interesting. So, we all know about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Robert Downey Jr. got, his contract was coming up. He got into a big contract dispute with Marvel. He wanted, 5 dump trucks full of money instead of 3 to continue doing it. Eventually, they came to a deal, and they signed a deal for Robert Downey Jr. to do Avengers 3 and Avengers 4. Okay. But since that time, Iron Man 3 comes out. It becomes the 5th highest grossing movie of all time. The biggest grossing Marvel film other than the Avengers. So now, obviously, people are asking Iron Man 4. What's going on with Iron Man 4? So, okay, recently, Robert Downey Jr. is being interviewed, and they asked him, well, what about Iron Man 4? And this, I'm going to read his response verbatim. He says, it's down to Kevin and Ike. The Kevin Feige, obviously, the president of Marvel Studios, and Ike, I've never pronounced his last name right, so I'm not going to try. Who's the CEO of Marvel? He said, it's up to Kevin and Ike and Disney to come to us with what the proposal is. And that